Let me tell you a story full of grit, determination, vision, and above all, a testament to the will of man to work in harmony with nature. And in an ordinary world, extraordinary stories like these are rare. It all began here, where Mr. Sadanand and Mrs. Somyalatha Shetty had a dream. And a meagre capital of 1,000 rupees. 4S Group was built on hard work and ethical dealings. It started with manufacturing of valves. The early 1970s saw 2 manufacturing facilities in Bombay and Bangalore being set up by the couple for manufacturing industrial valves. The foundation of a successful future was laid in 1972, when the Bombay Municipal Corporation placed an order for 72 valves of 2 meters diameter that required external technology. 4S chose Boving & Company Limited UK as their technical partners. Legend has it that Mr. Sadanand Shetty and Mr. A. Majumdar, one of the founding directors of BFL, walked into the Boving office in London one morning with nothing but their belief in themselves and the 4S Group driving them, and walked out with the drawings for the valve and a verbal agreement to enter into a collaboration, which was sealed over a handshake. The 4S Group entered into a technical partnership with Boving for valves, which lasted 14 years as the group went from strength to strength, adding manufacturing facilities in 4 more locations across the country. In 1985, Boving 4S Private Limited was formed as a joint venture with an equity shareholding of 62% by 4S Group and 38% by Boving & Company Limited to manufacture small hydro turbines in India. Boving 4S got into a 7-year technology transfer agreement with Boving & Company. During the early 90s, Boving UK was bought over by Norwegian conglomerate Kverna, forming Kverna Boving, one of the largest hydro companies in the world. This gave BFL additional access to world-class technical expertise and training facilities in Norway and Sweden. Thus, in 1993, Boving 4S signed a further 7-year technology transfer agreement with Kverna Boving, firmly establishing itself as the technology leader in India. In the turbulent years of the early 90s, as liberalization kicked into the Indian economy, the dynamics of the small hydropower business changed radically as entry barriers were dismantled. The customer profile changed from large state utilities to private players. BFL was also suddenly exposed to competition from a wide range of small and medium-sized players from across the world. At this crucial juncture, the company took several significant decisions to meet the host of new challenges. There was a realization that it was imperative to optimize on its facility and technological focus on small hydro, as opposed to scaling down large hydro to small hydro, as was being followed by other major players in the market. Since the very foundation, BFL's approach to business has been to build honest relationships with customers. These have been the guiding principles behind the spectacular growth spurt that saw the company supplying more turbines in the 1997 to 2002 years than in the previous 11 years of its existence. Kverna Boving was later acquired by General Electric, forming GE Energy UK. BFL reaped the rewards once again as it signed a 7-year agreement in 2002 with GE for transfer of technology, the 3rd such agreement in its history. The 2 earlier ones being with Boving & Company UK and Kverna Boving of Norway. With access to the best technology in the world and opportunities to scale up to higher output turbines, BFL took a decision of enormous strategic significance. The company decided to narrow its focus to small hydropower and raise the limit of turbine capacity to 25 megawatts per unit. That focus remains till this day, as the company has grown to become one of the largest players in this space. The company has developed a formidable product range and manufactures a wide range of different variants of turbines in the Kaplan, Francis and Pelton categories. Over the years, BFL's cutting-edge technology, its focus on small hydro and above all, its relationship-based approach to business has won it an order book which spans the globe from Central America through Australia. In 2008, as GE Hydro was to change hands again, the 4S Group decided to amicably part ways with GE, with the 4S Group buying out GE's stake and owning 100% of the company. At this stage, Boving 4S changed its name to B4S Private Limited, or BFL as it had always been known popularly in trade circles. And here we are, living that dream every day.
BFL is part of 4S Group, and 4S was started in the late 60s manufacturing industrial valves. At first we went out as a trader, and believe it or not, my father and mom started this company with 1,000 rupees worth of capital. My father would go out and sell valves, which he was buying from the market and reselling, and my mother would do the paperwork sitting at home, and that's how the business began. In small hydro, customers were not just buying the turbine, they were insisting that you had to be a turnkey E&M supplier that supplied everything from the intake valve all the way up to the trivector meter where you measure power to the grid. So that's our scope of work then, and that's our scope of work now. However, from 2004 onwards, we began working our own business. We began looking at how we can sell in the export market directly, and that has been a very positive thing for BFL. Today, more than 60% of our revenues come from outside India. More than 80% of our inquiries are from outside India, and if we've been seeing 36% growth year on year for the last 10 years, it's only because, at least in the last 4 or 5, of our global business. And that's where I see the future, that's where I see us moving forward. But let me tell you something, globally or domestically, whether you're selling to an Indian customer, whether you're selling to a customer in Vietnam, or you're selling to a customer in Guatemala, or you're selling to a customer in Turkey, the single most important aspect of our process, the cornerstone of business for BFL, is the relationship you own with the customer.
This is the joy of the business we are in, as a moment like these that make working at BFL special.
This is a very exciting business to be in. How does the plant actually work?
Well, it requires a lot of experience and expertise to run a power plant. Here is why.
So what is hydropower? Simply put, it is the ability to generate power from the potential energy of water flow at a height to kinetic energy, which rotates the turbine. Broadly speaking, there are two main types of power plants: run-of-the-river and canal-based. The water conduit which takes off from the main river or canal is called intake channel. The intake channel leads the water to a pond called desilting tank, where the debris in the water is allowed to settle down and also filters the water through trash racks. This filtered water is allowed to flow through pipes called the penstocks. At the inlet and outlet of the penstock, valves are provided to control the flow of water. The water enters the turbine, dissipates the energy it had developed during its fall, and is discharged back into the river or canal through a channel from the powerhouse called the tail race. The water from the turbine is guided onto the tail race through a structure called the draft tube. The plant has basically the following components. Turbine. This is the heart of the power plant. Water is guided through a turbine inlet valve and guide assembly onto the runner assembly, which is mounted on a shaft. The kinetic energy developed during its fall from a height rotates the runner. The shaft in turn is coupled to a generator. Generator. The generator converts the rotation of the turbine into electrical power. The turbine and generator are collectively known as the TG package. The TG package, along with its control and monitoring equipments, are housed in a civil structure called the powerhouse. The generated power from the generator is passed through a transformer. The main transformer, along with its current transformer, the potential transformer and the circuit breaker, are included in the circuit before the power is evacuated to the grid. Necessary metering is also included in the system to provide the quality and quantity of power evacuated. For continuous monitoring and control of all the machineries placed in the powerhouse, a control room is built to house all the control panels. The entire operation of converting the water force to electrical power is the most eco-friendly operation, and hence the electrical energy generated is called green energy or renewable energy. And this factory in Bangalore is at the heart of everything BFL does.
We have been in this business from past 20 years. Most of the critical machines here are imported and it can generate at an accuracy of 0.02, wherein we require 0.1, 0.2 accuracy. We still manage to produce 0.02 accuracy, which is a higher degree of accuracy whatever the market requires or the technically a turbine requires. Our people, workmen over here are associated with us from past 20 years, and this is a totally relationship-based organization.
It's plain to see that a lot of precision engineering and hard work goes behind the commissioning of a small hydropower plant. So what are the dynamics of this business?
Let me show you how this process works.
Well, it begins with the identification of a prospective site by the relevant government authority. The government conducts a preliminary study to assess the potential of the site. They then raise a tender and invite bids from private developers for the right to build and generate power at that site. The private developer at this point would hire the services of a consultant and conduct what is known as a pre-feasibility study. The consultant assesses the hydrology and geology of the site and basically gives the private developer an understanding of the potential of the site. The developer structures a payment model, which may include payment of a fixed fee to the government, or providing free power to the government, or a combination of both options. The developer then submits his bid. Once the government has received all bids and evaluated them, the project is awarded to the most suitable techno-commercial bidder. The developer at this point makes what is known as a detailed project report, or DPR, with the help of the consultant. At this stage, BFL gets involved with the developer by sending a budgetary cost to the developer. Once the developer has figured out the costs and potential revenues associated with the project, the developer gets an understanding of its viability. The customer now approaches financial institutions to raise debt to finance the project. Alongside, he also applies to the government for various clearances such as environmental, right to use water, land acquisition, etc. The financial institutions usually insist that the developer has a long-term contract with the utility to sell power at a fixed rate, as a precondition to financing. The developer enters into such a contract called the Power Purchase Agreement, or else he may opt to sell power in the open market at spot rates, depending on his financial capability and subject to local laws. Once all the clearances have been obtained, the developer then floats a tender for the equipment and civil works. Contracts are awarded to suitable vendors based on parameters like suitable technology, right pricing, comfort level, and past experience. It typically takes 12 to 24 months to get the plant up and running from the point of groundbreaking. Finally, the plant is commissioned. The turbines start rotating, power is generated, and the client starts monetizing it.
Long years of experience at BFL has taught me invaluable lessons. Cutting-edge technology and intelligent workforce would only take care of the obvious. But to make a real tangible difference to the client's business, honesty and a little bit of common sense would go a long way. That's why turbines from this factory has reached power plants all over India and the world.
So let's make a small trip and see what actually happens at a power plant.
BFL has always provided solutions to our problems to an extent that we've even told others who went into mini hydel projects about how accommodative they are and how prompt they are.
equipments have performed so well. We have not lost a generation even for a minute because of the excellent quality they have built in their systems and the equipments, which has helped our company.
Once my first project was commissioned with BFL equipment, a few years down the line, I took over a SICK unit, which had a relationship with another supplier of equipment, and having taken over a project midway which had a lot of issues, I was hitting a roadblock with using that equipment, and I think from somewhere BFL got to know that I was having some serious issues with the equipment. You won't believe it. They just called me up and they said, "Listen, we've heard this is what is happening. Is there anything that we can help you out?" It's nothing to do with getting future business or anything. It's just that we know that a customer that we've enjoyed doing business is in trouble, and is there something that I can do? And I was so touched. They sent a team at no cost to me. They actually spend days, having top technical people spending days in a remote part of the state, trying to find a solution which they were not responsible of. And they sent the team, found the solution, and I actually generated energy thanks to them.
This was all very impressive, but what of the BFL experience in the rest of the world? Off to BFL's clients around the world. We went to one of BFL's commissioned projects in Vietnam.
Trong quá trình xây dựng và lắp đặt nhà máy thì công ty BFL liên tục cử các chuyên gia về kỹ sư kịp thời theo sự yêu cầu của công ty chúng tôi để xử lý các công việc trên công trường, nên chúng tôi rất là hài lòng khi làm việc với công ty BFL.
We have been coordinated with BFL for 5 years now. During execution and even marketing stage, we found that BFL are very supportive, and we found that BFL is the right people to deal with.
Họ làm việc theo cái nhận xét của tôi là rất là nhiệt tình, trung thực và chuyên nghiệp. Họ cùng với cán bộ, kỹ sư, công nhân Việt Nam làm rất là nhiệt tình trong cái công việc của mình.
My next stop was the Bethlehem hydropower plant in South Africa.
The plant eventually was completed during the period of 2009, where during the period of end of 2009, with the help of BFL, the plant was commissioned. During the commissioning period, there was not too many problems, which was resolved quite easily by the engineers from BFL, by the gentleman known as Swaran Singh. The relationship with working with the staff of BFL was very good. They assist us in every way they can. especially the commissioning engineers did very well.
We went out on a tender round, which included a number of European companies as well as BFL of India. We identified the BFL proposal as very suitable for our needs. So on all our projects we will be continuing to be in contact with BFL and request proposals for BFL for the equipment.
And finally we came to the Genel Dynamic plant in Turkey.
The owner, Mr. Samir, I consider as a personal friend. Whenever we needed, he was always there, and the other management as well. Actually, everybody in BFL is such fine gentlemen, that's for sure. And I was very happy to work with.
We heard more from other clients across the world. Let's see what this client in Sri Lanka had to say about BFL.
Our main target was to get the commissioning on the scheduled time. But of course there was 1 or 2 months delay because we awarded the contract in 2003 and we were scheduled to get those machines by end of 2004. But due to, actually we also were not ready, some of our civil structures were not ready, and we received the machines in 2004 early, and the complete construction was completed, and we started the project and commissioned the project in mid-2004. And actually now we realize because after that project we did 3-4 other projects. Now we have completed 2 or 3 other projects, and with our experience I now see the 2 months delay that we have experienced there is very much reasonable.
We have dealt with other electromechanical suppliers as well, but BFL, even after they completed the contract, even after they completed the warranty period, till they were open for suggestions and any unforeseen shortcomings, they were willing to rectify.
And then we went to Central America, where we met some of BFL's representatives and employees.
We are perfectly positioned to open the market with BFL products, and we are more than sure that with the technical support, with the philosophy I mentioned before BFL has to serve the customers, to have customer satisfaction, we are in the right place at the right moment together with BFL.
Actualmente BFL posee oficinas regionales en Guatemala para atender todas las demandas de sus clientes y de sus representantes en los diferentes países. Actualmente BFL posee muchísimos años de experiencia y eso, anudado a lo que es la filosofía del cliente, hace que nosotros seamos sencillamente diferentes.
Eso nos atrajo mucho, saber que podemos confiar en una empresa con experiencia, con conocimientos y con ese profesionalismo que a uno lo atrae.
BFL busca aportar soluciones más que simplemente cerrar una venta. Y esto les da cierta flexibilidad, donde ellos analizan cada propuesta de manera personalizada.
Turkey, Vietnam, South Africa, Sri Lanka, different parts of the world, but the same level of client satisfaction. It seems evident to me that BFL not only has a great philosophy, but also a sound business strategy. So is BFL also a great place to work?
We have numerous examples and the employees who have risen their ranks on their merit alone.
We are committed to deliveries as per our customer commitments.
When the advanced technology and the force of the river come together, the results are extraordinary, especially for the environment. BFL is committed to the excellence in the field of renewable energy, and bettering the surroundings it operates in.
Every hydro site, by design, is custom built, and every relationship designed around that project is custom built also. If we look at BFL today, we are selling jobs globally. We are building projects in the Americas, we are building projects in the Philippines and a number of countries in between. And it's very easy to forget what actually brought us here. And what really brought us here is relationship. We built a relationship, and this is not a cliche, one customer at a time. And if we were not in a position to do that, we would not be a good small hydro company. I never allowed arrogance or process to get in the way. We looked at how we can deal with individual customers, individual problems, and overcome them. Do the right thing, be a good guy, and success will follow. I guarantee you that. Welcome to BFL.
BFL ve çalışmak zevktir.
BFL is awesome.
BFL is the type of partner you would want on your project during construction and in operation.
BFL is a passionate company.
BFL, good guys to work with.
Theo cái nhận xét của tôi, BFL là một cái nhà sản xuất hết sức là trung thực trong cái công việc và rất là chuyên nghiệp trong những cái công việc mà hiện nay họ đang làm.
BFL, great company, great people.
BFL is reliable and they deliver what they promise.
BFL has provided world-class service.
BFL, great turbine.
We're proud to partner with BFL.
BFL contract එකට වඩා වටිනාකමක් දෙනවා දීර්ඝකාලීන සම්බන්ධයට.
Yo estoy orgulloso de ser parte de la familia de BFL.
BFL provides challenging environment for all its employees.
Estamos orgullosos de ser parte de la familia BFL.
I'm very great to be associated with BFL.
Boeing Forest has got a good team of talented people.
Chúng tôi rất là hài lòng khi làm việc với công ty BFL vì công ty BFL làm việc rất là tốt.
We are always with our customer in good times, bad times, in all times.
O BFL engineer mushle kakulu pasabenza gashe.
BFL is the most efficient company.
Nos sentimos orgullosos de ser parte de la familia BFL.
We ensure quality in our products. We provide that special attention to all our customers. We are focused. We are flexible. We are transparent. We are passionate. We are the good guys. We are BFL.